G'day everyone, and yes, I know it's another video about me changing my camera, but it's a little bit different this time because not only have I decided to get rid of my Canon SL2 or 200D, which I've only had for a few months, I've actually decided to ditch DSLRs and interchangeable lens cameras in general forever. Now, quite a drastic decision, and I'll get to why just in a moment. But first of all, I just want to do a quick wrap on why I've decided to sell the SL2. Now, I did do a full review of this camera when I first got it, so I'll put a link in the description and a little tappy thing somewhere on the screen here to that video, because it is a great camera, but I don't want to waste any time going over its good points because I've already done that. So check out that video if you're considering if you're considering buying this camera. I want to talk about why I'm getting rid of it. So I want to talk about its bad points basically. Now, the first one is the image stabilization, or should I say lack of. So it's got optical image stabilization, or rather the lenses that I use have, the zoom lenses. This is the 18-55 version 2 kit lens, nice STM lens, focuses well, nice and sharp, small and light, not a lot of money when you buy it in the kit like I did, so you can't really complain about the lens, but you've got the optical, which is great. It's only so much you can do though. There is no image stabilization in this body. I knew that before. The other latest generation DSLRs and mirrorless cameras from Canon have got this digital image stabilization inside, which works in partnership with the optical. And I saw some really nice results, albeit in marketing videos, kind of got sucked in there, didn't do my research. This camera, as far as I can tell, doesn't have that because it's cheaper, basically. Canon is selling it at a lower price point. They're going to gimp some features, that's one of them, and it's a bit of a big deal, actually. I'll show you some example footage of what I mean. I've vlogged most of the time with the Canon 10-18mm wide angle, which normally suppresses jitters and stuff, but I just wasn't happy with it at the end of the day. I'm comparing it to my compact camera, the G7X, which has got great image stabilization. I had a Panasonic G85 before, which is well known for its good image stabilization. Maybe I was spoilt, but I just wasn't happy with it. I didn't think it was up to scratch, and it was my biggest gripe with this camera. In fact, well, it was one of two major gripes. The other one is the mic jack. So that's down here. Sorry, I've got no fancy cutaways. I've got no one helping with this video. It's just a sort of quick one. So bear with me. You can't really see in any detail, but it's in there. I mean, you know where they are in these cameras. They're in the same place on all of them. And the problem is that when the articulating screen comes out, I kept knocking it. There wasn't a single vlog where I didn't knock that, and I must have just put it out of place slightly, and I lost audio to the microphone, and it went to the internal mics, which is terrible sound, especially if you're outside and it's windy. You lose your sound quality straight away, and that's why we get these big cameras, because they allow us to put external microphones in. So that was really, really annoying. I spoke about it in the review. It just did my head in from the moment I got this camera. It's probably not unique to the SL2, but I don't ever remember it bothering me so much on previous cameras. So I'm not sure really what's quite going on there. Is it the cheaper build quality? Does it just not click in very well? Is it just my camera? I did wonder that. But yeah, happened all the time, multiple times, and I'd have to edit the vlogs in a way that you couldn't notice, or just ditch that footage or put it with it. Really annoying, not happy with it. So that was the second reason why I am getting rid of this camera. And following on from that, the third and final thing that I want to touch on is the general usability. This is one of, if not the smallest and lightest DSLR on the market right now. It's only about 400 grams for the body only. But for me personally, that is still too heavy and big and bulky to bother with as a vlogging camera. That's why I bought this as a vlogging camera, okay? And I just can't be bothered. It slows me down. When you just want to be spontaneous and just run and gun in a vlog situation, you want to grab your camera, switch it on, hit record and go. At least I do, okay? Now, You can get some amazing results out of this camera. I am not disputing that. But in my opinion, that commands taking manual control of this camera, okay? Selecting your shutter speed, your aperture, your ISO. That's where this camera really shines. That's why we've got all these buttons and controls and stuff all over it, okay? If you're just going to put it in full auto, you're not making the most out of its capabilities. But putting it into manual and messing with the settings, the moment's often gone. And that's really, really frustrating to me. It's also not very inconspicuous either. I mean, there's certain environments, situations where I'm personally not comfortable taking this camera. A restaurant, a funeral. Well, I haven't vlogged at any funerals, but do you know what I mean? Often I want to be covert or low profile when I'm vlogging, okay? I don't want to be drawing undue attention and worrying people who often are quite suspicious as to what I'm doing with this big DSLR, often on a tripod, and I've tried all the mini tripods as well, never really found one that made it any better. You might be of a completely different mind and think that I'm bonkers. There are some people who a DSLR or a mirrorless interchangeable lens camera makes sense. You know, if you're a professional sports photographer, if you're wildlife and you're shooting birds with telephoto lenses, if you are working in very low light environments most of the time and you've got to deliver those professional results, then of course a bigger camera with a bigger sensor and the ability to change the lens and put that fast glass on, 100% it makes sense. But that's just not me. I am doing this for a hobby. I live in North Queensland, one of the sunniest places in the world. It hardly ever rains here. The sky is almost always just blazing blue every day with bags of sunshine. I've got very young children. When we're out and about, it's in the daylight. I just can't be bothered anymore. It's just not really worth it. I will miss out, I know. There are certain looks that you can get that you're only going to get with specific lenses. I realise that. But for what it gives me in convenience of having a built-in zoom lens to a camera, for what I lose in ultimate image quality, for those times when I could have done with that wide-angle lens and I can't get everything in the scene, they're so infrequent, those occasions, that the convenience of just having a grab-and-go, one solid unit that just gets the job done far outweighs all of this fiddly business with lenses and attachments and just fuss. It's the only way I can put it. Because I've made quite a few vlogs with this camera, I've had quite a lot of people contacting me through the comments asking about whether it's a good camera and what I think about this feature and should they buy this camera instead of another camera. What I would say is that ask yourself first, do you really honestly need an interchangeable lens camera to vlog? And not only that, but a DSLR. It works for Casey Neistat, it works for Peter McKinnon and various other fantastic content creators. I'm not taking anything away from very talented and successful people like that. I would argue that most people would probably be better off with either a compact camera or their phone, okay? The more I learn about video, the more it becomes obvious that in actual fact, stuff like lighting and sound is way more important than whether you've got the latest DSLR with the fanciest autofocus system and all these other features which we've been led to believe that we need. So that's really all I'm getting at, is if you're thinking about getting your first vlogging camera, if you're new to this, just stop and think for a minute. Do you need to spend all that money actually on a camera like this, or even a more expensive one, just to make vlogs? You know, just watching this video back, I realised that I didn't mention that on our recent camping holiday, I only used the SL2 once, and that was for a time lapse where I had it on a little tripod. I actually did all of the vlogging on my trusty old Canon G7X compact camera. So I think that really illustrates the point that I'm trying to make in this long rambling rant of a video, and that is I wasn't using the camera. I can't really justify having just spare cameras lying around. I wish I could, because I do love trying different cameras, as you know, clearly. But that's all I'm trying to say, really, just share my experience. I'm not trying to persuade anyone that the SL2 is a bad camera, or that you shouldn't use DSLRs or mirrorless cameras. There's loads of great cameras, and that's the fun, isn't it? Trying them all out. It's a bit of a disease or an addiction that I've got. Anyway, I'd be interested to know what you think of all this. Let me know in the comments, am I completely bonkers? Or can you see some kind of weird logic in my madness? Do you love lenses and you can't imagine life without a DSLR or some form of interchangeable lens camera? Let's have a bit of a discussion. Go easy on the hate, please. And oh yeah, also I've already purchased the replacement camera for the SL2. I'll give you a few clues. It's not a brand new model, but it's got a lot of very good features, particularly on the video side. It is a fixed zoom lens camera, and you can attach an external microphone. So have a guess, see if you can figure out what it might be. Chuck it in the comments. And yeah, in the meantime, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.